to the Mischief Maker broadcast, where chaos, creativity, and common sense collide. Your host, Joel Freeman, was kicked out of high school in Alberta, Canada. He left home at 17 and hitchhiked around North America as a long-haired hippie and dope-smoking fool. He made a 180-degree change, becoming one of the first chaplains in the history of the NBA. As a professional speaker, Joel has traveled to well over 55 countries. His many books have been published in 28 foreign translations. Pieces from his Black History collection have been seen by millions at the United Nations and many other venues. And now, the Chief Mischief Maker himself, Dr. Joel A. Freeman.
Hi, Baby Joel here. I have a tip for you. If you leave alphabet soup in a saucepan on a hot stove and go out of the house, it could spell disaster.
There we go. Baby Joel speaks again. And we're so thrilled that he's able to join the show at the beginning of every show. And that's become a signature part of the Mischief Maker show. Now, what does the Mischief Maker show mean? What does Mischief Maker mean? Well, you have to go to the QR code above or chiefmischiefmaker.com, as you see beneath my name. And you'll see a definition of what it means to be a mischief maker. Or if you are wondering if you want to become one, it'll show you steps on how you can become a mischief maker, along with the link tree of all kinds of information about the Freeman Institute, Rosetta Universe, which is our sponsor, and music, all kinds of stuff. And we have a great show for you planned today, whenever you're watching this and wherever you're watching this. We have a gentleman by the name of Ko Klaver coming on. He's from Holland, the Netherlands, a Dutchman, and he loves tulips. Now, you might say, what the heck? What are you going to do to talk about tulips? Do you know one of the I think the first financial bubble in recorded history was in the 1600s? It was called the Tulip Mania. I bet you didn't know that. Maybe you did. Well, he's going to give us some inside scoop on that. Also, we're going to talk about Tulip Mania today and a whole lot. So if you got a green thumb, if you're a person that is a horticulturist, if you love planting things, having a garden, you're trembling with excitement because this is going to be your show. If you're not someone with a green thumb and you plant some plant and it dies shortly, you might get some tips today from Ko as he shares his passion for tulips, especially. Now, I have with me here, this is the belt I designed for this gentleman by the name of his name is Jack Johnson. It's the only one on the planet. We're only making 700 of these, and worldwide. So wherever you are in the world, if you are in UK, France, Germany, Russia, Cuba, the Caribbean, South America, wherever you are, Canada, all across the United States, this gentleman back in the early 1900s, he traveled all over the place. He beat everybody. He became the world champion, the first black boxing heavyweight champion in the world in 1908 just outside of Sydney, Australia. And then they put an asterisk next to his name. And they said, "Oh, you haven't beat the Great White Hope, James Jeffries." 2 years later in Reno, Nevada, he beat him. And this belt is a kind of an educational tool. But I digress. We're gonna. I want to get right to Ko as quickly as possible. I have a song for you. It's called "Vision Rich, Cash Poor." This is a song that I wrote and produced. And since we're talking about business, we're talking about Ko as a young man becoming interested in tulips and then building this enormous worldwide footprint around the tulips. We're going to get some business wisdom from him. But first, let's listen to this song. Ready?
was so fine. We talked about marriage, how we want our lives to shine. She's got her own dreams, and so do I. But it seems like we don't have enough to even try. I got a business plan, an idea so great, but I need the cash with low interest rate. I know it's risky, but I believe in me, and I know my love, she's my guarantee. Money's tight, but our dreams are bright. Together we'll make it, we'll be alright. We got love, that's the score. Vision rich, cash poor. My girl has doubts about our future life. She worries about the little money, if it's enough to be man and wife. But I reassure her that I'll do all I can to make her dreams come true and work the plan. Money's tight, but our dreams are bright. Together we'll make it, we'll be alright. We got love, so let's explore. Vision rich, cash poor. We had each other, and that was the plan. Years clicked by, life had ups and downs, but we stayed true to our dreams, our love unbound. Money's tight, but our dreams are bright. Together we made it, and we're happy tonight. We got love, and that's for sure. Vision rich, cash poor. Looking back, we still have some regrets, but we don't forget all the good times and lost bets. We're not millionaires, but we've got so much more. God-grown kids and each other, that's worth living for. Money's still tight, but our dreams are bright. Together we made it, and we're happy tonight. We got love, who needs more? Vision rich, cash poor. Got a new knee, but young at heart, with our love as the key. Crazy about each other, and that's worth more. Still vision rich, cash poor.
Well, the bones are creaking and got a new knee. Ko, it's welcome to the Mischief Maker Show, and it's you grew up in Netherlands. You're here in the United States. I think right now you're up in Massachusetts, but you live in the Maryland area. But you travel quite a bit. Take us back to your childhood, if you could. Growing up in Holland. The boy with the finger in his dike, Hans Brinker, all the different tales and fables and stories, ice skating on the waterways, the canals. Take us back to your childhood.
Well, thank you, Joel. Yeah, hey, great to be with you here on the show. And growing up in the Netherlands was kind of a fairy tale, really. When you look back at it, I grew up on a tulip farm. And I mean, how many people do you run into the world say, hey, where did you grow up? I grew up on a tulip farm. I grew tulips and I learned it from my dad and my uncles. And this is really all I know to do. Is I actually went to a horticultural college in the town of Hoorn in the Netherlands and studied flower bulbs and perennial production and growing. And so in the early days, you're growing up on the farm. You basically are lockstep with your dad. You learn all the tricks of the trade, as we call it, and how to grow it, what to do, what not to do. And then, you're basically are expanding. I was like, okay, I want to learn a little bit more about this. But I was, at that time, I would say a little lost. I was trying to figure out what could I do. And your song that you just played was actually very apt to that. Is my vision was bigger. It was bigger than the Netherlands. And I decided to sign up with this exchange program with Future Farmers of America. And I came to America and really to be an exchange student. And that just really changed and pivoted my life to be a farmer in America rather than to be in the Netherlands. But all the tricks of the trade and the growing of the flower bulbs and the distribution and all those things, the machines that we use to move all these bulbs and how to grow them and how to harvest them, how to plant them, that's all still in the Netherlands. So we always go back to that tulip cradle in the Netherlands where we pick up all our knowledge, and we even export our knowledge to our farms all over the world.
Folks, if you're one of the benefits of watching this live is that you have the opportunity to ask questions. In fact, I'm relying on you that when I miss a follow-up question, when I miss an insightful question, that you'll be right there to step right in and to ask the question. So get your fingers ready and reach out with a question for Ko, and we'll take it as quickly as possible. And Mel, our producer, he will determine if your question is germane to the topic at hand, and we'll bring it forward to us. Now, you grew up, as you said, in Holland. You're in a family now who was growing tulips. Now, many times, second generation or next generation is just not interested. Your dad could have 5 ice cream shops, and you're just not interested in being a part of the ice cream shops and taking them over as the next generation. What was it? Was there a moment, an aha moment for you where you said, this is what I want to do, or was it kind of gradual?
It really was very gradual, Joe. You're 4 or 5 years old. You can carry a bucket. You can carry a basket of bulbs. You can work in the farm. You can push the clutch down on the tractor to either let it ride or stop it. All these little things basically were just building up where you're just part of the farm. And your dad was the farmer. He was the boss. We had hired help in the season for the harvesting. And as the son of the boss, you were expected to be a leader at a young age. And you just duplicated those things. And even with other crops, we would go and work with other farmers in other bulb crops in town or in the next town over and learn those aspects as well. So it was a very gradual way of stepping into it. And it's you just grow up with it, really. And, here you're on a tulip farm, you're 10 foot below sea level, and you're growing on the bottom of all these lakes that they have pumped empty and dried out and started farming on the bottom of it. It's quite amazing what we do in the Netherlands on that little piece of land. And it still mind boggles me that the Netherlands is actually the second largest exporter of agricultural products in value, not in units, but in value, second largest after the United States, and not even the size of New Jersey, for that matter.
Now, tulips are not native to Holland. They came from, was it Turkey? The original, the origin of tulips?
Yeah, correct. That was in the late 1500s, mid 1500s, somewhere around there. At that time, you had the Ottoman Empire that pretty much struck that area of Turkey and northern Iran and Persia. And tulips were just a species plant in the mountains there, and they were collected. They were at the the courts there of the Ottoman Empire in Turkey, and one of the ambassadors brought it back to Western Europe and brought it over to the Netherlands. And it actually became quite a collector's item in a few years after that.
And with tulips, it's, I mean, when we think of a red rose, we think of love. You know, it's February 14th. You want to give a dozen red roses or 24 or one or whatever it might be. What is the emotion associated with tulips as you see it?
Mostly with tulips, it's spring.
Okay.
And it's just the birth of the spring season where all the flowering is coming in. Tulips are probably one of the first big blanket of color that you will find in the spring that is blooming out there. And if anybody ever is in a plane and they land at Schiphol Amsterdam Airport, or they're approaching it, and it's a clear day, you're looking at a tapestry of color just flying into it, and you just mind boggled with what you're seeing at that time. I'm even amazed with it every time I get to see it, because it's just a wow, really. So yeah, it's that spring announcement that's really, you know, that last week of April, first week of May, they're all in bloom over there.
And growing up on a farm, you know, it's just, there are ups and downs and all arounds. What are some of the most difficult challenges that come when you're, you know, first putting the tulips in, and you know, is it climate? Is it, you know, bugs? You know, what are some of the biggest challenges?
Well, by far the biggest challenge is weather. It's actually rain. It's water.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're in Holland, in the Netherlands, or the Netherlands, or the lowlands, or below the sea level lands, you're constantly in the process of managing water levels. That's why you see those windmills, they were pumping the water out. That's where we do not have townships, really. We have water management districts that handle all the water management to keep the fields at the right moisture level. And if it gets too wet, the tulips will drown in those fields, because, you know, there's no oxygen, there's no air in the soil. It's all saturated with water. So water management is by far the big one. Yeah, of course, you have little bugs. You have your aphids, you have your thrip, and these different kind of pests that we need to deal with. But weather is probably the big one. You get a hailstorm coming in, that's not pretty either, but there's not a whole lot of control you can do about that. Water, we can manage the water levels. The Dutch have been really good about that for centuries, actually. So it's to make sure that we keep our feet dry, as we call it.
Mm-hmm. And tell us a bit about your family, your siblings. Do you have siblings, and your parents, and are they still alive? Still.
Yeah, well, my dad passed away in 2017, 2018. He was a tulip farmer and a lily bulb farmer all the way through. He also had dairy cows as well. Mm-hmm. My older brother and my younger brother, they actually at this time are running the farm. They are the tulip growers now. And then I have a nephew from my older brother and a nephew from my younger brother that are just stepping into the farm as well, and are the next generation taking it over. So my grandfather started it already. So we're several generations in right now. I also had two sisters. One married a dairy farmer and the other one married a vegetable farmer. So we had quite the farming community going on.
So Holsteins, Jerseys, Guernseys, what kind of cows, dairy cows did you have?
We had the Jerseys, and we had the Dutch black and white ones. But we got to a point in the Netherlands, which, well, now we're in the dairy farming, where the udders of the cows just got so big that they needed to build a bigger cow with a stronger legs and a stronger mm-hmm. back. So they actually went to the United States and got some of the Holsteiners and brought those over to Europe and built a taller, stronger cow that could carry that milk. And I remember that because when I was young, we had to redo all the milking stables because the bigger cows couldn't fit in there. So they all had to be retrofitted at that time. And that was probably in the early 80s, I think, maybe the late 70s, early 80s, somewhere around there.
I was watching a podcast not long ago, and they were talking about predictors of success for children. as they move into their adult years. And, one would think, education is important, eating right is important, exercise, getting involved in sports and learning team activity and things like that. But they came away with the whole idea, and in the research indicated that it was doing chores. That if children had chores to do daily or on the weekends or whatever, that was the greatest indicator of success. Speak to that on a personal level, growing up on a farm with chores to do.
Well, I'll wholeheartedly agree with that, actually, Joe. And I grew up with chores. We had a paper route in the morning. We had to feed the young cattle. We had to help out. We also had 30,000 broilers, chickens, on the farm as well. And we had to set up those stables, and we had to walk those barns. And there was always work. When we came out of school on a little bicycle and we came home, and it was right around 3:00, it was tea break, coffee break, and it was put on your work clothes and you were going outside. And then after dinner, that's when we did our homework, basically. I'm doing the same thing with my 4 boys they're 22, 20, 17, and 15. And I'm very apt with them having chores and working. I don't even like them to work on a job where they have air conditioning. I like them working on farm markets. I want them to be really outside. I want them to come home dirty, tired, and hungry. And when boys are idle, they'll get into trouble. Well, I'll keep them busy, so they're hungry, they want to eat, they want to take a shower, and they want to go to bed. That's what I've been doing. And I'm proud of my boys. They're actually coming into business as well right now.
Really? That's incredible. Now, what is your entry? How do you do that? Because that's, once again, you're now coming to another generation. What are some of the things you're doing to train them up for succession?
I always gave them the opportunity to come with me to visit customers when I was visiting other farms and customers. I always took them with me to trade shows. My wife and I, we had the opportunity and were blessed to be able to homeschool our boys. So we were very flexible with that. My second oldest, I had a farmer in Alaska, in Fairbanks, who had challenges with health, and he needed help with the harvest. So I sent my son over there. Well, he did that, and now 3 years later, he's actually owning that peony farm, cut flower farm in Alaska. And that's only 4 months out of the year, and the other 8 months out of the year, he helps me running my warehouse in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the business partners and I have that flower bulb importing and distribution business going on there. And then my oldest one, he wants to help out with running the farm here in Massachusetts, in Deerfield, where we grow perennials on about a 50 to 60 acre production farm. And it all really comes down to is finding what they're passionate about, finding what they're excited about, and just be the cheerleader and give them opportunities. But not to talk them into it, not to push them into it. They got to explore it themselves and get excited about it.
Yeah, I guess a good maxim is if you can talk someone into it, they can be talked out of it, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, what do you say that a person changed by the opinion by another is still of the same opinion, basically?
That's right. Now, growing up in Holland, Hans Brinker, I think that he did a lot of skating on the canals in the wintertime. Is that is that fantasy, or is that real?
No, that's real. When you go to the Netherlands and it's cold enough, they skate on the canals, and it's almost a national holiday when it's cold enough and the ice is thick and hard enough for everybody to go out there. There's also, and this happens not that frequent because they have to stop the boat traffic and everything. There's an 11 city skating tour that starts at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Really?
And you got to finish by midnight. And I think there's, if I'm correct, I'm doing this out the top of my head, it's 16,000 people that can start on that one. And it's just brutal. I was never a really big skater. I've done it, but I was okay. I was really never good at it. But I had friends of mine that were really good at it. And they were skating marathons. And those kind of things. It's a national pastime, really. They'll stop. I mean, they'll companies will shut down and say everybody has a day off. Just go skating.
I grew up in Alberta, Canada, and we lived in a small town of 2,000 people called Three Hills at the time. 9 ice hockey rinks, always had an ice rink behind the house. And I was on the ice from late October to early